All right, guys. So you'll see that today we're going to be talking about Mercury leaving Sagittarius and then going into Capricorn today or not today, but on January 1st, 2026 at about 3:11 p.m. So if you look here, you'll see that we already fast forward to the point where Mercury will make that ingress at the 0 degree mark of Capricorn. And with Mercury, it it's going to change the focus a bit because I think, with all those planets that were in Sagittarius last month in December, they all moved into Capricorn before December ended, but Mercury was still lagging kind of behind in Sagittarius. So I think that a part of us, like our mind, was still stuck on whatever was going on for us in the Sagittarius realm of our life, whatever house that rules in your chart. And so, now that Mercury is going to be into Capricorn, I think now we can fully, like, kind of jump into whatever thing that Capricorn is speaking to, or whatever the planets in Capricorn are speaking to in our life. So, one of the first things I want to do is let's talk about what are the significations of Mercury to begin with. And if you see here, Mercury, it tends to rule the mind, like what's going on with the mind and how you interact with the world. I think Gemini is a good representation of that, which Mercury rules. And then also you have Virgo, who's also ruled by Mercury. And it deals more with like kind of analyzing um, data and analyzing like its surroundings by, I think, from like a distance or from a non-interactive experience or perspective at first. Whereas Gemini, I think it's more hands-on, like to experience when it's interacting with the world, and that's the difference that I see with the two. Where Gemini, it's all it's always trying to interact, and I think Virgo doesn't quite interact like that. It tends to usually interact from a distance and analyze, So it analyzes and kind of reads a situation or a person or whatever have you. But also, Mercury deals with communication. So any type of communications or conversations, any kind of back and forth. That's what Mercury's all about. It in traditional astrology, it represents. Mercury was the one that's able to go back and forth uh, to relay messages to the gods in like mythology and things like that. Um, it can represent your thoughts, contracts. So if you're signing any contracts or you have any like agreements and things like that, it could speak on that matters. Learning, usually it's more kind of the basic or fundamental learning, 101s or 100s. I think Sagittarius tends to deal with more of a deeper, higher learning, but Mercury is more with maybe like kind of that introduction, or sorry, Jupiter is more that higher learning and deeper learning, but Mercury is more kind of fundamental ABCs type thing, foundations. Um, it can represent siblings. Often, the third house also represents siblings. Um, it can also, I think, it can also represent na- neighbors or people in your surroundings as well. But that tends to be a third house topic, which we tend to associate with Gemini. It rules over information, intellect, or intelligence, and then it also deals with language. Because with that language, there's there's this interacting and back and forth, and that deals with communication, but back and forth. And then there's also an element where you're kind of you translate. If you're speaking different languages, you might be translating, and that's also like a Mercury type thing. So anyways, these type of topics are going to be changing from Sagittarius type energy to more of a Capricorn, serious, more deliberate, more long term, committed type energy. Where Sagittarius is more fun, adventurous, not non committal in a way. And I think Capricorn is way more serious, way more it's like a grind. Like if you think about like the mountaintop, like getting to the mountaintop is usually going to be a grind, or like the goat. That is the symbol of Capricorn. So if you look at what our first theme might be when we think about Mercury in Capricorn, we'll see that I think that you'll see that practical thinking and more strategy and strategizing in whatever area of your chart this is what you'll notice. Like maybe your thinking was kind of all over the place, or if not all over the place, explorative, not committed on any particular thing. Now it might get more focused, more locked into a specific area or subject, where you're more locked in on whatever that may be. If you're an Aries rising here, that's your 10th house Capricorn, so you might be more locked in on work and your career, your public image. But if you're a Cancer, for example, that's going to be your 7th house, so you might be more locked in on relationships, either romantic or business partnerships, friendships. Like usually these are one-on-one, so it might be like a specific individual or a specific one-on-one relationship, not all your relationships, but maybe just one particular relationship in general. If you happen to be a Virgo, this is your 5th house, so now you're more locked into your creative goals. Or if you have any like romantic interest, maybe you're starting to seriously take them somewhat serious. You might be serious about dating or something like that. You might be serious about your fun, trying to have fun, because the 5th house rules fun. So you might be noticing that, okay, now I'm trying to plan out having fun and enjoying life. Or if you have children, this could be your child, and you notice that you're taking your child more serious. Maybe there's things going on with your child, and they're the topic of discussion for the duration that Mercury is in Capricorn. But if we look at our second theme that you might see is serious conversations. So I think that when Mercury goes into Capricorn, serious conversations and topics definitely could come up. As I said, Cancers, you guys are focused on it's going to be a focus in your relationship house, the 7th house. So I think that definitely there could be serious conversations, whether that's for good or for unfortunate. Like maybe there's serious conversations to build relationships stronger, or maybe there's serious conversations to come to terms with what the relationship is and maybe dissolve some of these relationships. But either way, for some of you, I assume there's going to be serious conversations around relationships and what's going on in relationships. If you're a Pisces rising, this is in your 11th house, so you might be getting more serious about your goals or your friendships, communities you're a part of, having serious conversations about that. And then I think another topic we could look at is this is a time where you might experience more mental discipline, you know, as a as Mercury ruling the mental and Capricorn being very disciplined and very structured, very step by step approach. Yeah, you can realize that you have more discipline during this time in whatever area that is for you. So, like we said with Pisces, you're thinking about your either your goals, ideals, or friendships, but maybe now you're, I think more with goals or ideals, you're taking your goals more seriously and you're able to really stick to it and commit to whatever actions that you're feeling like you're called to do, and you have the mental discipline to really stick through it and stick with it, and you find that maybe it's not even difficult at all, because you also let me highlight these other planets. You also have Mars that's exalted there, a planet of action. So with Mercury there in Capricorn too, I just really think there's going to be a lot of discipline towards um, actions in whatever house this is for you, for any of you. If you're, let's see, if you're a Leo rising, this is your sixth house. So you're also probably disciplined. You're having discipline when it comes to work. And, you know, the sixth house, I definitely think Mars likes being here, so as well as Mercury. So yeah, I think this could be a really good time for you to get really disciplined, whether it's regarding your work or whether it's regarding like your health and your routines. And then if you happen to be a Taurus rising, this is in your ninth house. So you might have more mental discipline about your faith, beliefs, sticking to whatever maybe rules or morals and things like that that your faith or belief calls for, you know. In certain religions, you know, you're supposed to dress a certain way. You're supposed to you're not supposed to eat certain things. You're not supposed to do certain things. Maybe you find, for many Taurus risings, maybe you find that during this time, if you've been struggling with certain aspects of your faith or belief, you'll find that it's easier to stay disciplined in regards to some of these things that you follow. And then another thing that Mercury and Capricorn can bring is realistic decision making. You know, with Mercury and Sagittarius, it may have been because naturally Mercury doesn't like being in Jupiter signs, which Sagittarius is one and Pisces is another. Um, it you know, it finds it hard to do the things it wants to do. Mercury likes to focus on the details and on the individual small details and information, and break and dissect things apart and things like that. Whereas Jupiter ruled signs likes to be expansive, and when you're trying to dissect and be detailed on such broad topics, you know, it can become exhausting. You know, you become like all over the place. So when it's in Sagittarius, yeah, it can be your thinking and maybe communication and uh, you know, these things can be, your mind can be kind of all over the place and kind of just not really hitting on anything specific, which can lead to you not achieving or getting done whatever you feel like you need to get done. But here in Capricorn, it's way more structured, locked in, and I think it can focus a little bit better here than it can in Sagittarius for sure. And so, you'll find yourself definitely making more decisions that probably are more realistic as opposed to big grand decisions and ideas. You can now focus and make the right decision or smarter decisions compared to probably what you could have last month. And then the last thing, I think building foundations and fundamentals. This could, with Capricorn, Capricorn likes to build. And like I mentioned earlier, Mercury deals with fundamentals and foundation type learning or foundational uh, interactions. So I think when it's in Capricorn here, you could definitely find yourself building the foundations of whatever it is you're possibly building. If you happen to be in Aquarius rising, then this could play out in your 12th house. So maybe you're finding yourself taking action in your spiritual practices, if you have any, and you're, or maybe you're new to it and you're building foundational skills here and learning and taking steps. If you're let's see, if you're a Libra rising, this is your 4th house of home and family. So maybe you could find yourself thinking about how you're going to start your family, like the foundations that you want for your family or for your home. Maybe you're thinking about building a home from scratch, with that Capricorn there and exalted Mars, Venus, Sun. Like, it's possible that some of you Libra risings might be trying to build a home from the ground up, you know? So I think during this time, yeah, you could definitely experience that. So yeah, that's my take on Mercury entering into the sign of Capricorn for the month of January. I definitely think, like I said, with it going there is going to be a little bit more beneficial for most of us than it was in Sagittarius, and just the fact that it has all that help uh, with Mars and the Sun and Venus. I think once it moves there, we're really going to see things happening for us in whatever area that is in your chart. So uh, keep keep uh, keep me posted and leave a comments on how this thing turns out for you. And yeah, just check in, and I'll see you next video. Thanks.